Now let's talk about the LA Rams. The LA Rams seem to be a great success story, right? The Rams are 9-3 since their 1-4 start to the 2024 NFL season. Matthew Stafford had yet another average season, throwing for just over 3,700 yards. However, the LA Rams are considered to be in a rebuild year. Sean McVay himself wanted out this offseason. Aaron Donald retired, and Matthew Stafford was rumored to be on the trading block going to Dallas. The Rams were all pretty much written off all season long, right? But now, 9-3 since their 1-4 start. One of the hottest teams in the NFL have a home playoff game in Arizona. But are the Rams a better story to make the Super Bowl than the Detroit Lions? Would the LA Rams be a better story, a better build-up to the Super Bowl than the Detroit Lions? Why do I say this? Everyone seems to love Matthew Stafford. Whether it's Detroit Matthew Stafford or LA Matthew Stafford, he's a very, very likable person. He has a very, very easygoing personality and a smoking hot wife. Let's just be honest. And when you look at the Rams to start the season, guys, they had a plus 4,500 chance to win the Super Bowl, which was 10th in the NFL. Basically meaning they did not have a very good chance to make the Super Bowl, let alone win their division, let alone make the playoffs. Now, me personally, I did have the Rams going 10-7 this season. I expected their defense to struggle without Aaron Donald starting out. I did not expect their defense to be playing the way they are right now. Since the rough start of 1-4, the defense has stepped up. They're still not great, but they've stepped up and they've gotten a lot better. They're finally getting pressure onto the quarterback, which is huge. As of right now, they do have the 26th ranked defense still, but a lot of their yardage were given up the first 6 games, which kind of skews their numbers a little bit. And let's just be honest, everybody loves a national disaster underdog stories. The Lions have been underdogs their whole franchise, their whole lifespan since 1957, right? Better luck next year since 1957. But I think the LA Rams are a better underdog story right now, especially with the LA Fires. So guys, if I got to ask the question, who would make the better Super Bowl story, the LA Rams or the Detroit Lions? I got to say the LA Rams. The LA Rams make a very, very intriguing story this year. The LA Rams give you that little good feeling underdog, anybody can do it, Rudy type of situation, right? You go from 1-4, lose a defensive player of the year to retirement. You've gone through injuries, and then all of a sudden you're 9-3. All of a sudden you're in the playoffs. All of a sudden you're beating one of the best teams in the NFL. Then you go to your old hometown, whoop that ass, and then you go to Philly and whoop that ass. Guys, the Rams' story is better than the Detroit Lions. I'm just saying the Rams' story right now is much better than the Detroit Lions. Now, obviously, if the Detroit Lions make it, it's going to be awesome. All hell is going to break loose. There's going to be everybody and their dog rooting for the Detroit Lions because they've never won the Super Bowl, right? Especially if they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be like the big Greek god versus the small god. Why is it slipping my mind right now? What is it? Goliath and whoever. I don't know. It's going to be the big dog versus the small dog, right? It's going to be a great story, but I think the Rams right now, guys, have the better story. What do you guys think? Is it a Rams better story or the Detroit Lions better story? And Edgar Uris says Rams will win it all. And Edgar, it would not shock me one bit if the LA Rams do win it all. Matthew Stafford has been there and done it. He's won the Super Bowl. Natural disasters bring teams together, brings communities together, gets you laser focused, right? Because what is the best thing to do when your city just got hit by a tornado? What is the best thing to do if your city just got hit by a hurricane? The best thing you can do is come together as a team, give something the fans look for all weekend long, take away from their house being burned down, take away from all their pictures and their memories being flooded away, and to just play great football. For 3 hours a day, it gives people just to escape from reality. LA needs it. right? LA needs it. And JM says Rams hit on every draft pick, especially on their defensive picks. They did. The LA Rams hadn't had a first-round draft pick in like 6 years or something crazy like that. And they nailed this year's draft. 100%. And John says, come on, man. It's the Detroit Lions. We know this. We know this is the Detroit Lions. And Pepe says, nope. I would rather see the Lions, and so would America. If you would have said that a week ago, Pepe, 100%. This would not even be a conversation. But in the recent events that have just happened, the fires, all those houses being burned down, right? Smoke and fires being seen from the LA Rams practice facility, and like whatnot. Like, people are going to rally around the Rams. Rally around the Rams. And Laura says, no, not the Rams. No way, Jose. And Drew says, I would rather see the Lions too. Man, you owe some feel-good haters right now. Each and every one of you right now that are saying the Detroit Lions are pure feel-good haters. You're hurting my feels. Andrew's Paradise says, more surprising, yes. A better story than the Lions, who hasn't been good since the 1950s? No. Andrew, you are correct. I don't have my hoodie on me right now, but it is a Detroit Lions logo, and it says, maybe next year, it says 1957. The Detroit Lions have not won a championship since 1957. And I get it. John, you are a huge Detroit Lions fan. You are a very good historian, right? What was it, like 54 and 55? They were like the bee's knees. They were killing everybody. They were good back then. I will give you that. I will give you that. And Edgar says the Lions will lose to the Rams. And Edgar, it would not shock me one bit. It would not shock me one bit. However, I want to say Matthew Stafford going back into Ford Field yet a second time. You better get the job done this time, brother. Better get the job done this time. Let's go. Let's go. Josh says the Lions winning the Super Bowl would be a very much better story. Like I said, and Josh and Pepe and Drew and Jim and John, I agree with you guys. It would be a great story. Like, either story is going to be great, right? Detroit Lions winning their first championship since 1957. The LA Rams rallying together in the face of adversity, winning the championship. It would all be great stories, but let's just be it. These are all non-fiction stories. These are fiction stories, right? Because these are stories that are not going to happen because we all know the Kansas City Chiefs are going to three-peat. Slow it down. Pepe says, I'm hoping the Rams restrooms have running water. That's why they're playing in Arizona, Pepe. A little too soon. $20 million short. But JM says, Goff is the reject quarterback. Campbell is a storybook coach. Their team is all injured, and they have a real fan base. LA doesn't actually care about sports. LA doesn't care about sports until the playoffs start. Then you see all the celebrities start to come out to all the games. JM, you are correct. You are correct on that. But to say that the Detroit Lions are the most injured team out there, they're not. They're the sixth most injured team in the NFL. They have gone through adversity all season long. They had at one point they had 21 guys on like IR. They have been, right? But at the same token, the Rams were injured very much earlier in the season too. They just got healthy mid-season. Andrew, thank you. David versus Goliath. Thank you, guys. I knew what I wanted to say, but I cannot think of it, and I was butchering the crap out of it. Andrew and Drew, thank you, guys. Appreciate that. David versus Goliath. That's what I was thinking of. Alpha Rob says, I say the Lions, they have never been there, and they just get to beat by the Buffalo Bills. Oh, what was it? I saw it somewhere where, like, they want the Buffalo Bills to go there, and it was another NFC team that's never won. It was the Minnesota Vikings, right? Both of them are 0-4 in the Super Bowls. Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills. They want those two teams to make it, so one team can finally get their first Super Bowl win, breaking the 0-4 streak, right? And then the other one's 0-5, and they're never going to win a Super Bowl. That's a better storyline, Vikings versus Bills. Let's just be honest. And Laura says, take the natural disaster happening out of it. Would you be saying that about the Rams? No, I would not. Laura, you are exactly right. You take away the natural disaster, 100%, we are not talking about a better field goal story about the Rams or the Detroit Lions. Not going to happen. But natural disasters bring communities together. Natural disasters bring people together. Me, my sophomore year of high school, we had an F5 tornado come through town. Totally wipe our town completely out. The only thing left was the cornfield next to the football field, our high school, and the soybean next to our football field. Everything else was completely gone. 2 days after that tornado came through town, we had our first football game of the year. It brought a whole community together. We ended up beating the defending state champions on our home field and whooped that ass like 60-0. Just things like that have ways of bringing people together, elevating the game, right? And Alpha Rob says the Buffalo Bills have a better story. Yes and no. Yes and no. Buffalo Bills are supposed to be there, Alpha Rob. Buffalo Bills are supposed to be, finally winning their first Super Bowl. We can talk about that. Let's say that for Wednesday, and we'll see who is left in there, whether it's the Vikings, Rams, and then we'll say who is the better storyline, right? What is the better Super Bowl storyline? We'll say that for Wednesday. John says, it isn't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Say that for Monday. Motivational Monday if you're Pixie and Pundit. And Andrew says, in a narrow view of just one season and the Fires, then yes, the Rams are a better story. But from a decade or more view, the Lions are a better story. That is correct. That is probably the most correct answer that we've all seen. And the last week's story from playoffs on, the Rams this year, right? Narrow void, whatever, but in a wide peripheral view, the Detroit Lions, 100%. And Laura says again, take the sad story out of it. That's what sells, Laura. That's what sells. Sex sells and sad story sells. It is what it is. And Andrew says, as a Packers fan, I would be happy for the Lions fans if they won a Super Bowl, but I hope the Vikings lose to the Rams. I hate the Vikings and their fans have always unfounded arrogance. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. That is Andrew's words. I'm just relaying them. Wide right. And Laura says the Vikings better win.